The response by the security forces, is it justified in these pockets of violence that we've seen on the streets, or is it actually inflaming the situation?
I think security forces have been inflaming the situation. If we consider the very initial protests of last week on Thursday, not last week, the other week on Thursday, the protesters started off very peacefully and ended the protest later in the evening, went up to the night very peacefully without destruction of property. What has happened now is that there are two levels of provocation to violence. One is the police, the way they use the tear gas and the live ammunition against the protesters, but the other, from what we have heard from our protesters in Nairobi and Eldoret, which is the backyard of the president, and what media has reported is that there is a group of goons that has been allegedly hired by politicians to counter the protesters. The goons are carrying batons in the middle of the city and engaging in clashes with the protesters and also looting the shops. We don't know what the strategy is. What we have seen in the past here is that when that kind of thing happens, the government blames the looting on the protesters and then justifies the use of excessive force against the protesters.
Prior to all this, Ruto had a very clean record, reportedly. In many ways, we've seen it, projecting Kenya as a strong democracy. I mean, what we're seeing right now in those pockets of violence, is that the right response in light of this as to what he's been saying?
I don't know what your sources are, but there have been concerns about the government for quite some time. I don't know what the clean record in this case means.
He's called the protesters criminals.
Yes, he's called the protesters criminals, but I think we saw again a change of tune in the middle, and then yesterday we saw again a return to that characterization of protesters, which is unfortunate. And I think it is it's a way of just avoiding to recognize the legitimate concerns that Kenyans have that is making people go to the streets. And because of that, it's actually backfiring on him because he's failing to read the mood of the people, the mood of the country, and offer appropriate response to what people are saying.
He backed down on the policy, this finance bill, as a result of these protests. Could you see it getting to a point actually where he could in fact resign?
I don't know. I haven't seen any indications that Ruto is about to resign. I'm not even sure how far the protests will go, but so far they haven't stopped. The protests are not just about the finance bill. The protests go to many other issues: the corruption in the government, the arrogance of government officials, the opulence, the way people show or carry around money in bags. The other week when Parliament was voting, there were media reports that money was being carried in bags to go and bribe parliamentarians to approve that bill. And this annoys people. The lack of accountability. When Ruto came to power, the first thing he did was he withdrew all corruption-related and criminal charges that some of his close allies were facing in court. And that's the first thing that people noted. And I think that was the first wrong start for him and the public. And that's how he started losing support from the public.
The concerns of the public are not going away anytime soon. So do you see the situation with protests getting worse, perhaps before they start to calm down?
I don't think so. I just think that public sentiments will remain. Whether the protests will continue, I don't know. But the public sentiments will remain because they have been there for quite some time. The issue of corruption, the issue of over-taxation and people not seeing what the money is doing, over-borrowing and people not seeing where the money is going, the arrogance, the opulence and the misuse of public resources. Those issues have been there since from the first day he stepped into power up to now. He had promised to stem that, but he has done very little. In fact, people think it has become worse.
Okay, Otsieno Namwaya from Human Rights Watch, thank you for your time.
Thank you.